What's up guys, I hope you're having a great day and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay Padilla and today I'm going to be giving you guys my 10 best ways to effectively improve your art skills. Now these are all things that I have done to improve over the years, so every tip may not work for everyone, and these aren't rules but more so guidelines to help you along in your art journey. So let's get started. Jumping right into number 1 is to revisit the fundamentals. The fundamentals for art are form, or some people like to call it construction, perspective, anatomy, composition, and value and lighting. Now the reason I'm telling you to revisit the fundamentals is, for example, if you build a house on a weak foundation like sand or dirt, eventually you won't be able to sustain itself and crumble. And it's the same when it comes to your art. If you lay down a good foundation and understanding in these categories, your art can essentially have limitless growth. Another great thing about mastering the fundamentals is that they may be separate categories, but they all mesh and intersect with one another. So let me give you a few examples on what I mean. Say you start learning form construction with simple objects to learn how to move them in 3D space. Well, if you can grasp the fundamental of constructing simple objects in 3D space, you can apply that to your anatomy drawings. So by laying down the foundation of construction, you can then build your anatomy on top of that to make it really stand out in your illustrations and not make your art fall flat on the page. Another example is if you understand construction and anatomy, you can then place those objects into different perspectives so you don't have the same static poses and angles for your artwork. Finally, if you understand construction, anatomy, and perspective, you can move on to composition and lighting and value. And then, depending on what your art goal is, say you want to make digital painting illustrations, if you want to make your illustrations stand out and be appealing to your audience, you will need to learn how to lay out the image in a way that draws the eye in and lets your audience feel the emotion you want to convey through your artworks. And that's essentially what composition focuses on. And you can use lighting and value to make more dynamic compositions in your artwork and to give form to your drawings to make them feel three-dimensional. And the idea of knowing your goal ahead of time leads us into the second tip. Now this can apply to anything you have a passion about in life, and what I mean about being specific is to know your end goal, because knowing that will dictate how you practice, what you practice, and what skills you want to develop. So say your goal is to be a character designer for an animation studio. Well, if that's your goal, then it wouldn't make much sense for you to study environmental digital painting, or say you want to be a background artist. It really wouldn't make much sense to spend your time learning character design and anatomy. If you want to improve faster, it's best to first know what it is you want to do, and once you do that, you can then build a plan for how you'll accomplish it. So if you want to be a character designer, for example, you will need to learn construction, anatomy, color theory, perspective, and so on, and that's how you can put yourself on the fast track to improving. Now I know some people have been told many things about using reference when it comes to art, but hear me when I say this. You need to use reference. If you are just starting art, or even if you feel like your art skills have started to plateau, if you want to improve your visual library, you need to look at references. It's not cheating to use reference. You can't draw what you don't know. However, when you are using reference, use it as a guide to help you improve your artwork, but do not copy another artist's work and try to pass it off as your own. If you are copying for practice alone, then it's fine, but other than that, only use reference for inspiration and to help make improvements on your illustration. So what does putting theory into practice mean? For a lot of new artists, when they want to learn, they usually go and find as many tutorials as they can to learn as much as they can quickly. I know, because I used to do it too. But if you watch 10 drawing tutorials in a row and haven't drawn once the entire time, by the time you're done with the 10th video, you've already forgotten what happened in the first 5. So when you go to watch a tutorial on how to draw hair or eyes or anatomy, draw along with them, or after you finish the tutorial, go try it for yourself and apply what you just learned, make your mistakes, then revisit the video and see where you went wrong and try again. That is what putting theory into practice means. More than likely, you started your art journey because of a specific influence. For me, it was cartoons like Justice League, Young Justice, Adventure Time, and animes like Hunter x Hunter and Attack on Titan. And when you have all of these influences, you want to draw like the artist that created the content that you enjoy. And as time goes on and you discover so many other great artists, you can have one of two reactions. You can look at their art and you can say, I should just quit, I'll never reach their level. Or you can ask the question, how did they get their skills to that level, and what can I learn from studying them? When I first started drawing, a main influence on my drawing style was based on Togashi's art style in Hunter x Hunter. And by that I mean the anime, because some of those manga pages are interesting. Then one day, One Punch Man dropped, and I became aware of this superhuman being known as Yusuke Murata. Now, I would have looked at his art for One Punch and just walked away, but instead I studied his art style. I wanted to know the tools he used and the process he took to create his panels, and on top of Murata, I was heavily influenced by fantastic artist Stanley Artgerm Lau, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing right, who you can see is great at meshing anime and semi-realistic artwork. Now, my art right now is nowhere near their level, but I still continue to learn from them by taking what I like from their art and putting my own changes to it to create a whole new art style. And I will be making an entire video on art style in the future, so stay tuned for that. This may be one of the hardest tips to follow, but if you want to continue to grow and be better, you can't just draw the same things over and over again. You need to step outside your comfort zone and take on that one thing that you have been avoiding. For me, it's been learning perspective and drawing backgrounds. And I have to remind myself that when I first started art, it was a challenge to draw eyes, it was a challenge to draw the torso and arms and legs, etc. So once you change your mindset from it being too difficult, I'm never going to get this, to understand that it is a process, you'll be a little more at ease when it comes to drawing those difficult things. I'm talking to you, with those hands in pockets and behind heads. I see you. The drawing that you guys have been seeing me doing throughout this video is actually a redrawing of an illustration I did back in January of 2021. It's important to draw old artwork because it's an indicator of all the things that you have improved on. It is a great motivator to show that even if you don't always see the progress you're making, if you go back and look and compare your art from years ago to now, you can see how much you've grown, which leads me into my next tip. When it comes to your art, most of the time when you finish, you are blinded to the subtle mistakes hidden throughout the drawing. If you don't ask for critique, most people won't give it, the focus being on the word most, because you will have those people who give unsolicited critiques that no one asked for and they can't even draw a correctly proportioned stick figure. But other than that, you need to take a few steps back and really evaluate your art to point out areas that you need improvement on. And if you need to, go to an artist that you admire and trust and ask for their honest feedback, and I promise it will help in the long run. Observation is a very underrated skill when it comes to beginners in their art journey, but I'm going to tell you why it's one of the most important. When you're practicing drawing environments or anatomy or lighting, most of the time if you're using reference, you tend to copy most of it into your artwork naturally. But if you slow down and really study what you're looking at, be it from life or from references you gathered online, if you understand why certain lighting works and why others don't, what happens when certain muscles are stretched or contracted, why certain elements like the ears will close fold, or how different materials react to light, over time, these things will stick in your visual library and you won't need to use the reference anymore because you can just draw it from memory. And finally, one of the biggest tips I can give you is to just be patient. If you're just starting out, you won't reach the same skill level as your favorite artist in a year. That just won't happen. They didn't even reach that level in a year. It took many years of study, practice, and discipline and patience to get where they are now. And if you want to achieve the goals you set for yourself, you will need that same level of discipline and patience to make your dreams a reality. For those of you who have made it to the end of this video, I thank you. And here's the final result of my redraw from 2021 to 2023. I hope this inspires you guys to keep going at it and don't give up. And if you wish to see more content from me, be sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you have anything specific you want me to make a video on, then do leave a comment down below and I will see you all next time.